Hello. Hello. What's your name? My name is Jubby. I can't spell my middle name. I'll try to spell it. J-U-B-B-Y. Jubby. This is my sign name. My name's Sydney. My sign name's this. Why is it that? When I was little, my hair was really curly. That's cute. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Where are you from? Where were you born? Long time ago, I was born in Nigeria, the west side of Africa. There are 2 signs for Africa, both are fine. I like this one because Africa is such a beautiful place. It's kind of like the sign for Europe. I was born there. You moved here, why? A long time ago, in 1985, I moved here to go to Gallaudet University for an education. In 1940, my country was in a war and the economy hit them. So I flew to Gallaudet in 1985 to study. Then I moved to New York after I graduated, Rochester, New York. Lived there for 2 years, then I came here to the deep south, and I love it here. My kids grew up here. Did you move to America alone? Yeah, I came alone. Didn't know anybody. I got to talk to new people, make new friends. It was fun. Did you like Gallaudet? It was very good. People helped me a lot. Gallaudet was perfect. They helped me. My freshman year, my money didn't come in time, so I was stuck. It was stuck in Nigeria because people at Gallaudet helped me. I worked at the accounting office, and I studied the economy. I worked in the accounting office, and I loved it there. They just took me in and added me on. My major was economy. I liked it. It was wonderful. Were you born deaf? That's a good question. I was not. I was born hearing. I grew up speaking. My native language is not English. It's a different language called Yoruba. Nigeria has 3 main languages. Trimus is in the north, south, and west. People in the north are mostly Muslim. I'm a strong Christian man now, but in the north they're Muslim. In the south, I myself was born speaking. When I was 7, I got sick with my temperature spiked. I had a really high fever, and I became deaf when I was 7.5. I learned to lip read. My language was not English, it was another one. I could talk fine. I taught, went to school. My mom and dad thought, he's deaf, he's useless. They cast me aside. It was a taboo. So I just walked around until I was 11. When I was 11, they had deaf schools, but I dropped out early. They wanted to hide me. Later, I went to another state. That city, when I was 11, I went there. I learned English and sign. We learned SEE, Sign Exact English. It helped me understand both English and signed English. And that's what I did all of elementary, middle, and high school. And then when I got to Gallaudet in the accounting office, people would come in and talk in sign language, and I had to learn it. It was very important to just be in the community. I was curious because their expressions changed, so I changed to ASL, and I love it now. So you first started learning ASL at Gallaudet? Yes, that's right. Okay. That's interesting. My country, their language, the schools use SEE. The community in Nigeria uses Nigerian language. A little bit of ASL spread out, but here's where I picked up. My first class at Gallaudet, the teacher signed, and it went straight over my head. So what did I do? I just studied. I read and read and read. I passed with a B. It was a hard concept. I got B. The community, I worked hard to be in the community and just learn it. So now I know. So your family, you said you had your mom and dad. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Yeah, I have half brothers. My mom's side. I'm the youngest. They're still in Nigeria. They came to visit 14 years ago. They came to visit my oldest son graduate. And the others I just can't name. They're from my dad. They're from a different woman. They're all hearing. I was the only one that was deaf. Okay, you were the only one that was deaf. Okay. So growing up alone, deaf, in your family, was it hard, easy? It was hard. My father, he didn't believe in sign language. He sent me to deaf school and signed, but when I came home, I couldn't sign. He would tell me I couldn't use my hands. Lip read. He said, use your voice. I would complain. He said, no, that's wrong. Stop. He wanted me to stop going to the deaf school. Can you imagine that? For no reason. My voice was going down, so he said, stop going to the deaf school. I wanted to fight him. I wanted to go to deaf school. I was smart. He didn't want me to get an education. He thought I was illiterate because I couldn't read. He didn't understand. It was a struggle. It was hard trying to lip read. Now people talk to me in sign. I look at their lips. They're signing, but I still look at their lips. If they say girl but sign boy, I say, you're saying girl, that doesn't match. It's hard work. It's still from a long time ago, but it helped me. Do you continue to lip read sometimes? Yeah, I lip read. When somebody says to man up, but they're signing woman, it's hard to understand because sometimes their lips don't match what they're signing. But it helps me sometimes to lip read. So the deaf culture and hearing culture is different. How? There's many reasons. The community, they loud and yell. Deaf people have lots of expressions. They think I look mad. I'm like, no, it's my expressions. They're like, that, what are you mad for? I'm trying to explain, I'm not mad. They just don't understand. I'm just in a conversation, people come in, they're trying to look around, they're in the middle, they duck and walk through the conversation, or they say, excuse me, that bothers me. Just walk through, you know. Excuse me bothers you more than just walking through. Yeah. They're trying to be polite, but they don't realize that you're having to stop. I have to keep looking at them because they're standing there, and then they duck and walk through, and it's distracting. It's very different. Your eyes are your connection in the deaf world. If I close my eyes, I can't see anything. My ears don't work. I've got nothing if my eyes aren't open. I can't focus on you. People in the hearing world are loud. They say it's because they can't hear. when I'm trying to talk to people, hearing people, I tell them that they can't hear, they just try to talk loud. They keep getting louder, and I'm like, no, stop embarrassing me, just write. And finally they write, and I'm like, okay, wow. That's just the hearing community still. So a lot of hearing people just don't understand how deafness works. It happened recently. I wanted to go to the doctor. I was using the interpreter relay system. I was typing. And the person was saying, tell her or tell him. And I'm like, no, talk to me straight. They can't understand. They're like, oh, okay. And they continue to change. Tell her, tell him. And it's just really confusing all the time. He said, I'm a man. Look me straight in the eye and just talk to me. And the interpreter, they kept talking to the interpreter. So I asked him, who are you talking to? Talk to me, myself. I would rather not have an interpreter at the doctor. I would rather pass notes back and forth. I'm an educated man. In the office later, the woman was smiling. I was nervous. I was quiet. I said, hey, thank you, thank you. It was really strange. I didn't understand. It's different for every situation. Some deaf people can't read. They can't do anything. They can't read or write. Lip read is it. Some people have an accent, English accent. And they ask me where I'm from. My accent sounds different. It's an British accent. It's an English accent, and America's different. Nigeria, my father, can you hear it? Father, it's different. It's spelled Libor. It sounds different. Yeah, the accent's different. Nigeria, all the countries sound different. Why do they sound formal like British language? English, a long time ago, they colonized Africa. A long time ago. And they still have that accent. They kept it together. So that's why. So when you went to school, they always taught English, not just the deaf school. Right, they taught English and the native language, both. But everybody learned English. For work, you had to know English. Not just your country's language. People from the north didn't like the people from the east or west or south. They still don't like people from the south. So when you went to Gallaudet, did you want to leave the country? Yeah, it was a better education. When I graduated high school, I applied to many different places. There was a university in my country, but in the north part. I had to try and get my money to them, but they didn't like people from the south. Still, in Nigeria, they didn't want people from the south, so they said, your name's what? And I lied. I didn't want them to know I was from the south. Our skin looks the same, so we could get by as the same. I just kept my mouth shut, and then I saw that Gallaudet accepted me. There was a war in my country, so I just took my money and went to Gallaudet. So American deaf culture, how do you think technology changed American deaf culture? it continues to change. The iPhones, that's changed a lot with the communication with the video phone. Texting is just easier. I don't like all that. It goes over my head. It's too much for me. I'm old-fashioned. I like simple. I'm a simple man. I enjoy... People tell me to add me on Glide, add me on all these different things. And I'm like, no. I can text you back and forth. We can email. That's enough for me. I prefer to just look at the people. I don't want to look at my phone. Technology is wonderful, and it's improved deaf people a lot. But I prefer to type. Because it's a language. On the video phone, when people are signing, I prefer to type instead of video phone. Because the interpreter, they say, how do you sign that? They get confused. When I call, I don't know where the interpreter is going to be from. They could be from a different state. So when I say I want to go to the doctor in Spartanburg, they don't understand that I signed Spartanburg. I prefer them to say Spartanburg where? There's two signs, Spartanburg or Seattle. So if I can spell it, they understand it. But the interpreters just say, oh yeah, I know what you're trying to say, and they get confused, and it's not what I meant. Not Seattle, that's wrong. I mean Spartanburg. I prefer to type. That way I can type it all out in the common language. And then I can print it all out on paper so that I have proof. So they're stuck. They can't say anything. The other line can't say anything. They have to say, you're right. It's right there. They see it. I prefer that. Many people say signing's better. Throw away the typing. I understand that, but signing isn't perfect. I think it's improved a lot, but now we have choices. You can type or you can sign. Either one. You have choices. Yeah, that's right. So ASL isn't your first language. Right. So do you think it's hard living here now in the hearing culture in America? No, not really for me. Not really. For hearing people who don't know how to sign, I lip read. I write notes back and forth. It's fine. Sometimes if they say a whole sentence, I can't understand what they're saying. They think I can read their mind, and they cut off their sentences. Many deaf people struggle. They bring an interpreter in there. They'd rather have an interpreter standing right there. For example, at the hospital, they brought me an interpreter. Right? They said it's my law to have an interpreter since you're deaf. But I didn't want the interpreter. They just stuck me with the interpreter. I don't want it. I said, go on, please. They said, it's the law. You can have an interpreter. But for me, I said, yeah, I know, but I don't want an interpreter. I want to pass notes back and forth. Some people prefer privacy. Like if they're at the deaf school, they don't want an interpreter to depend on. They say, it's the law, you can have an interpreter. They're afraid. They want to be able to give you an interpreter. But I have choices. I want the choice. Yes or no. Pass notes. I can pass notes. Okay, we're finished. Thank you. Any more questions? No, that's it. Are you sure? It was my pleasure. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you.